Okay, welcome back. All right, to finish the story, I was talking about my father. Really, I was talking about retirement. If you remember, I told you that I'm planning to retire in 3 weeks, that this is not my last class today, but it's almost my last class. And I'm going to retire, finally. Tengo unas ganas. I am really looking forward to my new life. In 3 weeks, I'm going to retire. And I'm going to forget about irregular verbs. I'm going to forget about conjunctions. I'm going to forget about nouns and verbs and adjectives and conjugations. Finally, ya está bien de conjugar. Okay, ya está bien means it's about time that I find something new. And I'm ready to retire. I'm going to take early retirement. And if I live a long life with good health, I have many years ahead of me, my golden years, to enjoy life, to travel, to do everything I have always wanted to do and that I haven't had time to do. Lo mismo que decía mi padre. The same thing my father said when he was 59 and he decided to take early retirement. And I said to my father, I said, well, why? You're only 59. Why do you want to take early retirement? And he said, I'm tired of changing diapers. I understood perfectly. I'm tired of changing diapers. If my father was American. If he had been British, he wouldn't have said, I'm tired of changing diapers. He would have said, I'm tired of changing nappies. Because pañales, in America's diapers escrito, se pronuncia diapers, and in England it's nappies. And to change diapers is cambiar pañales, claro. Normally mothers change diapers, fathers don't, okay? But sometimes, when my children were little, I helped my wife. I have probably changed 200, 300 diapers in my life, maybe. I used to be, now I don't know what to say. I used to be an expert at changing. Es insertado at, como preposición. Antes era experto en cambiar pañales. I used to be an expert changing diapers. También vale sin preposición. So don't worry about at. I used to be an expert at changing diapers, and I helped my wife quite often, all right? But in my working life now, I don't change diapers. I used to change diapers in my working life, which is recruiting teachers, reclutar, seleccionar profes, training teachers, and controlling teachers. And teachers are human beings. And it's incredible how many things can happen to a human being that will ruin all of your best plans, okay? And my father, poor guy, pobre hombre, poor guy, he worked all his life in a life insurance company. But he wasn't a life insurance salesman. Maybe the first 2 years he worked as a salesman, but very quickly he became a manager. And a branch manager, gerente de sucursal, de seguros en este caso. And his job was to recruit, train, and manage the sales force. To create the sales force es fuerza de ventas. En este caso de vendedores de seguros. Wow. De vida. It's very difficult to sell life insurance. It's very difficult. To sell property insurance is easier because everybody knows. I mean, if I buy this this television studio, it's very clear that I need insurance. Fire insurance and damage insurance, different types of insurance for this studio. But for my life insurance for me, if I die, allá ellos, allá los demás, ni me entero, right? Is that a good attitude? If I die, que arreen, all right? No. If I die, I want the people I love to be secure. I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to have any problems. Because if I die, the tax man, el fisco, will come and want to collect inheritance tax, impuesto de sucesiones. And in a question of 3 months or maximum 6 months, I don't remember the law. And my family will have to pay it. And maybe they don't have the money in cash. Maybe they have to sell the house or sell a car or sell a mink coat. I don't know. So that's insurance. That's life insurance. It's very difficult to sell life insurance because the last thing in the world you're interested in is receiving the telephone call from a life insurance agent. Hello? Pedro Blasquez. Hello, Mr. Blasquez? Yes. This is Richard Vaughan from XZ Seguros. Yes. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that your family is protected in the case something happens to you? Now, that's the last kind of telephone call you're interested in receiving, of course. So you can imagine how difficult it is. Te puedes imaginar lo difícil que es. Aquí en español decís lo difícil. La palabra esta, lo, que no existe en otros idiomas, es una palabra preciosa en castellano. Te puedes imaginar lo difícil que es ser vendedor de seguros de vida. You can imagine cuán difícil es en inglés. You can imagine how difficult it is to sell insurance. My father, for 35 years, was responsible in several different offices, basically three different offices in his life, of creating a sales force and training it and managing it, okay? And when he was 30 years old, it was not a problem. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement, mucha ilusión, a lot of excitement, all right, a challenge, un reto. I'm going to create a very good sales force. I'm going to spend time recruiting with art and science. I'm going to train these people como si fueran geos de la venta de seguros. Yes, I'm going to spend a lot of time with them. And I'm going to manage them with a firm hand on the rudder. The rudder is el timón. Ruder, doble D en medio. Rudder. Okay, I'm going to keep a firm hand on the rudder, and we're going to go in the right direction. That's when my father is 30. Now, when my father is 40, doing the same job, he does it very well. Less enthusiasm, perhaps, but more wisdom, okay? Or simply more experience, okay? Now, when he's 50, he's starting to get a little tired because every year my father got older, the gap, que es la brecha, la diferencia, the gap between his age and the age of the new agents he was hiring and training and managing was greater. If the average age of the agents was 33 and my father was 50, well, he was starting to get gray hair on his temples. And the young agents were different, a different generation of agents, a different generation. And then by the time, by the time my father was 57, 58, 59, he was fed up. Ya está bien. Enough is enough. Basta ya. Enough is enough. Means ya está bien. Basta ya. No puedo más. And he was tired of recruiting young agents, training them, managing them, reminding them to be perseverant and persistent and to call Mrs. Smith, to etc. And he told me, I'm going to take early retirement. Voy a acceder a la jubilación anticipada. And I said, but Dad, why? And he said, I'm tired of changing diapers. Working with people, especially young people, requires a lot of patience. And you need to help them. When they fall down, you need to help them up. Fijaos como lo digo. Si alguien se cae delante de mí, le ayudo a levantarse. Okay? Unless it's my enemy, okay? But if the person falls down, I help the person get up. Or simplemente I help the person up. Okay? And my father was tired of helping young agents get up. All right? Because you need to do it every day. So he took early retirement. He took early retirement. And he said, finally, I will have the time I want. I will have all the time I need to do the things I like to do, to play golf, My father loved to play golf. I was a better golfer, but he loved golf much more than I did, okay? All right, he was more consistent. I was more brilliant playing golf, but I was inconsistent. He was more consistent. Like the tortoise and the hare. I think you said la tortuga y la liebre. I was the hare and he was the tortoise, okay? But he was a good golfer. He loved it. Also, he loved American football, especially collegiate football, which is university level. And so he moved. My mother and my father moved to the house of their dreams, finally, to their retirement home, not very far from the stadium of the University of Texas, because my father wanted to go to watch the football games every Saturday. And they bought a house next to a golf course. My father could walk to the first tee, primer hoyo de salida, and he could start playing golf. He paid the dues. He joined the country club, a private club. And so everything was ready for my father to enjoy retirement. He was 59, still in good health, still very young. And he played golf for about 1 year, and he quit. He quit. He went to 2 football games, and he stopped going. En un caso he dicho quit, en el otro he dicho stop. También podría decir quit en ambos. Quit es cuando paras y abandonas ya. To quit. Stop es cuando paras, a lo mejor temporalmente. A lo mejor no permanentemente, pero puede ser temporal. Quit no es temporal nunca. Okay, he quit playing golf. And he stopped going to the football games, or quit going to the football games, because he lost interest. And he never said it. He never told me. But my interpretation, or my conclusion, was that when you have all the time in the world to do the things you like to do, those things lose their luster. Luster, escrito que es lustre, pierden su lustre, su brillo. Okay? Because before, when my father was working, he was a very busy man. But I remember every Wednesday afternoon, he took the afternoon off to play golf. And Saturday and Sunday, he played golf in the mornings. Okay? Every Wednesday afternoon and every Saturday and Sunday, he was stealing time to do the things he liked to do. And in the autumn, he got in his car in Corpus Christi, Texas, and he drove 4 hours to watch the football game, and then drove back, or stayed the night and drove back the next morning. So he was stealing time to do the things he loved. And then when he had all the time in the world to do them, he lost interest. And my father lived a long retirement. He retired when he was 59 and he died when he was 84. What is that? 24, 25 years. He lived, my father was retired for 25 years. And he wasn't very happy, in my opinion. He was bored. He was bored with retirement. He didn't have anything to do. He didn't have any responsibilities. And he converted my mother into a secretary. Because before he retired, he always had 2 secretaries. They were always taking care of him. Everything he needed, they gave him. Margaret, can you arrange for my car to change the oil in my car? And Margaret arranged for his car to have an oil change, because my father was an important man and he didn't have time to drive his car to the garage for an oil change. So everything was done for him. And then when he retired, de un día a otro, from one day to the next, he had no secretaries. If he wanted to change the oil in his car, cambiar el aceite del coche, if he wanted to change the oil in his car, he needed to get into the car himself, find a place, a repair shop, and to say, can you change the oil? How much? And to pay. He had to do it himself. And he wasn't used to doing that. He wasn't used to doing that. No estaba acostumbrado. He wasn't used to doing that. So, if you are looking forward to retiring, si usted está, o si usted espera con gran ilusión el día en que se puede jubilar, if you're waiting, if you're looking forward to retiring, make sure, Asegúrese. Make sure that the plans you have are things that you will in fact enjoy. And don't forget that some of the things you enjoy doing now could be because you are stealing time to enjoy them. And when you have all the time in the world, they don't have as much attractiveness, or they're not as attractive as before. So think hard about retirement. Some people prefer to work. I'm going to work forever. I told you in the last segment and a few minutes ago that I was planning to retire in 3 weeks. Mentira cochina. I'm not going to retire. I'm going to work forever. I'm going to teach English until the day I fall dead. Okay? Because it keeps me alive. I have a responsibility. If I'm not here, who's going to teach you English? Somebody has to teach you English. Somebody has to worry about your English level. Okay? It's not easy for me to do it. It requires a lot of time, effort, energy, and concern, preocupación. But somebody has to do it. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to take care of your English? Who's going to come on television every day and say, Maria, Inés, Manolo, Juan, Pedro, Javier, Victor, come on, study. And if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Okay? If I stop teaching, I will die in a question of 1 year because I won't have any stimulus and nobody will need me. And if I don't feel needed, I will shrivel up and die. To shrivel es lo que pasa una uva cuando se queda en uva pasa. Se encoge. I will shrivel up and die because nobody will need me. I will have no reason, okay? So my profession, to a certain degree, marks my person and gives meaning to my life, which is not necessarily true. My profession is maybe 50% of what's important in my life. There are other things. My personal life contains a lot of very important elements, very, very important elements for me. But the profession's important. I remember several people whose health declined tremendously the moment they stopped having responsibilities. But the two most interesting stories I know is about my wife's grandmother and an old lady in Mallorca. My wife's grandmother was a very busy woman. Every day she got up before anybody in the house and swept the house and then mopped the house. To sweep with a broom. You use a broom. When you sweep, you need a broom. A broom has two uses: to sweep the floor or to fly if you're a witch. The witches use brooms for transportation, but normally a broom is used for sweeping the floor. And you sweep the floor, and then if you want, you mop the floor. Uno mopa, ¿no? Mopear, decimos en inglés. You mop the floor. And this woman, she was 84 years old or 85 years old, and she was still, every day, at 7:30 in the morning, she was sweeping the floor, mopping the floor. She made coffee for her husband and for her daughter, who was my mother-in-law. And then she started preparing lunch. And she was prepared. She went out and went to the market, the traditional market, not the supermarket, and she bought the food for lunch. And then she started preparing the food. And she was the old-fashioned style. She didn't buy croquetas ya hechas, precocinadas. She bought the dough to make, and she made the croquettes. When she bought squid, calamares, un calamar, she extracted the ink the old way, and she spent a lot of time in the kitchen, and the food was delicious, by the way. And so she was always busy, always busy. And then when she was about 85, her daughter insisted, saying, "Mother, you're 85 years old." And the mother was as strong as an ox. An ox es un buey, más fuerte que un buey. Se dice en inglés tan fuerte como un buey. She was as strong as an ox, 85 years old. And finally her daughter, who was about 50, said, Mom, sit down. I will do it for you. You're 85 years old. And it took the daughter at least 6 months, but she convinced her mother, my wife's grandmother, to stop working. And in a question of 1 year, she was dead. Okay? She died. She had nothing to do. She had no responsibility. Okay? The second case I know is a woman who was 94, and she lived alone in Mallorca, in the country, in a house. And her husband was dead. She was a widow. And the only thing she had was a donkey. But in her house, she didn't have running water. Agua corriente. She didn't have running water. And she had the donkey. And every day, she took the donkey down a hill to the water and took the donkey back up. That was her responsibility concerning the donkey. Okay? And if she wasn't alive, the donkey didn't have anybody to take care of him. Now, the 3 sons of the grandmother, who were about 60 years old, they said, our poor mother, she's 94, she lives alone, and she has to take care of that donkey. That's a lot of work for our mother. We're going to take the donkey away and sell it or give it away. Cuando regalas algo porque no lo quieres, no se dice to give, se dice to give away. We'll give the donkey away, and we'll tell our mother that the donkey got lost. Well, when the grandmother realized that she didn't have a donkey, she died in less than a month. Because her idea was, well, if I'm not here, who's going to take care of the donkey? Somebody has to do it. So she had a sense of responsibility that without her, everything would go bad. And so it kept her strong, a reason to live. And if you don't have a reason to live, usually your health suffers the consequences. Okay. And you have a reason to live. You have to learn English with me. Okay. Porque si aprendes inglés con otro, that's infidelity. I want you to learn English with me. Okay? And so you have a reason to continue living. We have a pact. Tenemos un pacto. We have a pact. My side of the deal, mi lado del trato, estamos haciendo un trato, mi lado de la transacción. My side of the deal is to teach you English the best I can. And your side of the deal, you signed, ya te vi, I saw you sign. And I hope you read the clauses and stipulations. But your side of the deal is to make an effort. You have to make an effort. If you don't make an effort, you're not going to learn English. And if you don't make an effort, I'm wasting my time. And I'm wasting my breath. Se dice en inglés, malgastar mi aliento. I'm wasting my breath trying to teach you if you don't work. So, that's it for today. I'll say goodbye on this camera. That's it. I'll come back tomorrow, and together we will make another attempt. Haremos otro intento to una incursión en este idioma. Yes, and we will make another attempt to improve your English. In the meantime, have a good day and study. Thank you.